You know, today I kick off my very first football game as a head coach of the Salem Hills Skyhawk freshman football team. Be strong, be tough. You guys have a chance right now to start your careers here in this organization, this program, on your home field, and you have a shot at winning, controlling the outcome of every single game you play here. Today I get that chance to go out there and do what I love outside of work. And that is to coach, to be around young men, to inspire, to motivate, to see them do more than they think or believe they can do more, to help them become better than they can be. And that's why this convention becomes so important to all of us. It's about doing the things that allow you to have a dream and see it be fulfilled. We're gathered here in this convention this year to make an impact on the world, ourselves, our lives, our families, our communities, our countries, the entire globe. You've got to be involved, you've got to be out there and doing things that set yourself apart, doing things that others don't do. You got to decide to be a winner, and that's what this is about. It's about believing in yourself enough to do it, to go out and to do things that make that dream become a fact. It takes hard work, it takes preparation, it takes organization, it takes passion. Have some guts, for heaven's sakes, men! Have some fire! I want this moment, this weekend, to be the weekend where you say, I'm not just going to watch my dream happen, I'm going to live it. I'm going to do everything I have to do. I'm going to rank advance. I'm going to get out there and lead my team. I'm going to be a leader. This convention can do that for you. It can be the biggest impact on your business ever. I hope it impacts you this week as we go from here and impact the world. When it gets hard, when you want to throw up, you keep that count in your mind, you keep battling. And you do that, you're going to win.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage co-CEO Jeff Higginson.
Let's go. 15% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you. My doctor told me 6 months ago that my health was in dangerous jeopardy. I had been seeing a doctor and all of my tests were bad. Everything was bad. My cholesterol was high. My blood pressure was high. Everything was bad. They'd put me on a medication for sugar diabetes, pre-sugar medication. And I really thought, for the first time in my life, that I could die as I sat there and listened to this doctor. She was a specialist they sent me to find some things out. And she could not believe, given the history of my family's health, that I would allow myself to have gotten that big. And you know, doctors aren't real bold sometimes, and they're afraid sometimes to tell you that you have to lose weight. And she sat me down and she said, you have to lose weight. Your dad's had open heart surgery. His father died at 45. His father's father died at the same age. Your mother's dad has had 2 open heart surgeries. Your dad's got sugar diabetes. His dad had sugar diabetes. And now I was just told that I am pre-sugar diabetic. And they put me on a medication. The next thing she said to me that got my attention was, she said, undo your pants and take your shirt off. And I did that. And she walked over to me and she started grabbing my fat. This is an endocrinologist, by the way. They study glands. And she was poking into me. And every time she would poke into it, she would say, you have got to lose weight. And then she said something that was really strange. She said, are you lactating? And for a minute, I wondered if she thought I was a female. And I said, well, excuse me, why would I lactate? And she said, because people with poor health and your issues and the pituitary issues can lactate. So she started squeezing my breasts. really hard. And I was really uncomfortable, and I knew right then and there that something had to change. She said, I want an MRI. I'm going to send you downstairs today. I want to look at your pituitary. She sent me downstairs, and the weight limit was 300 pounds. Of course, I was over 300 pounds, but I wasn't going to tell them I was over 300 pounds, so I said I was about 295 pounds. Big mistake. They put me in this tunnel, and as I slid in, it moved my arms and shoulders right up over my neck. I couldn't even breathe. I went into a panic. And I kept talking myself out of this. Don't you dare quit now, because you know you shouldn't be in this tube as big as you are. Well, I started to perspire. And as I perspired, my arms began to get moist. And when it was time to come out, the bed slid out, and my arms stuck to those walls and started to kind of just bounce out until the bed went and I stayed. Now they give you a cord, and I grabbed that cord and I pulled on it, and I was in a panic. 2 people came over, grabbed my ankles, and pulled myself out of that tube. On that day, I thought about my family. I thought about my life. It was the first time I really thought I could die. And I want you to know, I came out a month later and I made a promise to all of you on a video that I was going to be a different man. And that day in March, I thought a lot about everything, and I decided I'm going to do this because I really don't have a choice. There's one choice that I have, and that's to really make this happen. I had great support from my partner, Jeremiah, and everybody in the office worked hard to make this happen, and they tried to do things to put me out on the TV to commit myself to doing this. But it was really deeper than that. And I worked hard, and we hired a health coach, and I started working with her, and you'll meet her, and we've got a great trainer that set up a program, and I started making it happen. And that brings me to the moment I'm in today. And I want to switch gears, and I want to take this suit off that I wore a year ago at this conference. And I'm sure you thought, well, boy, he should have had a tailor. But this suit and this belt are an end of a chapter. And I also want you to know that if I did not have the Agel Fit Challenge team, as well as Pro, and more Pro, and more Pro, and Green, and all sorts of great products, it couldn't have happened. But this pair of pants right here, folks, where I was 1 year ago today. And I'm never coming back to it, because I've discovered that through our products, through really understanding and knowing our products, that I can have the health I want. And by the way, I'm not done. When you see me in Hawaii in 2 months, I might be in a little tight swimming suit. I just haven't decided yet. But I want to make a transformation from that to now what I want to talk about today, and that's coaching and what I love to do. And I wanted to wear this coaching gear to come out and talk to you from my heart about things that I think are important in winning, and things I teach my teams all the time. And the principles are the same. They're the same in life and in business. They're the same in everything we do. Some of my football players are here today, and they could attest that that first locker room conversation wasn't really good. I will tell you something. We were 33-0 at halftime. We were losing. I told them I wouldn't want to go to school in the morning. I was so embarrassed. We'd thrown interceptions, turned the ball over, fumbled kickoffs. It was a circus. The second half, we came out and won that half. We haven't lost a game ever since. We just won the region championship. That wasn't because of me, but it was because a group of young men decided they could become something greater. They could become something more. When that doctor said what she said to me that day, it impacted my life forever. I'm a different person today because of it. I want you to know something. There's a few things I believe in that I was taught when I was young that I think are important. You have to have a vision to succeed. The biggest secret in life, a vision to succeed. If there's a vision, then there can become a way. There's a vision. We declared that 1 year ago. 1 year ago, we said we were going to begin to fill this arena until the year 2020. We had a real small crowd in attendance a year ago. Because you believed, because you went out and said, I'm going to make it happen, we were able to over double our attendance at this year's convention. We also said that we were going to be a company to reach 1 million product consumers. I'm going to tell you something about products. I've never been so product-driven in my life than I am right now. I've been taking this new product for the last 4 months. The research, the amount of blood that I've donated, the tests that have come out of this product, everything that I've seen this product do, I am different because of it. It has got so much research behind it. There have been so many studies. When this product launches at the end of this session, we will have launched a signature product in Agel's history. I promise you there will be companies that start companies based on this product alone. The first in the world to launch this product. And by the way, we're not just launching one, we're launching 2. That's how we're going to get to 1 million product consumers. So vision is important. And then, from there, we have to have passion. We've got to be excited. We've got to wake up every single day and we've got to decide what we're going to do to be successful. You know what? Some of you have come in here a little battered, a little beaten up. You've had some issues for the past year. Some of you might have had them in countries. Some of you have had challenges, struggles, but you found a way to purchase a plane ticket, go through the visa process, and try and come to America. You know what? You're here, and that says something about you and your ability to win. And people are looking at you because you're here. You got to remember something, that if you're passionate about what we're doing, things will go great for you in your life. You know, before this all happened, before I got into this transformation, I would go wherever I went, people would look at me and double take me because of my size. They didn't know my heart, and they didn't know I was a kind guy, but because I was big, it was an issue. I remember airplanes were the worst. I mean, I would get on an airplane, and people would go, please don't let him sit next to me. And I thought, only if they knew if they got me to sit by him, they would have a fun time. But they looked at me like that. I want to show you a picture. I'm going to show you a picture on the slides up here, and hopefully this will work out. That's me on an airplane, okay? Here's where passion comes in just a minute. You see how many seats I feel right there? Now, I'm on an Asian airplane coming out of Southeast Asia. And they're lining up in the back, and they've put me in the front just to not cause trouble. But I'm taking 2 seats up there. The next trip that I left America to, I went over to Europe, and I got on another plane. I'm going to show you what happened to me. You see that armrest? That's my hip. Oh, that's upside down. I got that turned around. That's right. That's my hip. I sat down in that chair and snapped the armrest into the other man's hip. Now, if you can imagine how embarrassing that was. I was on one of those airplanes flying into Spain, and just before takeoff, just snapped. And the guy next to me was so kind, but he couldn't stop laughing. He couldn't stop laughing that this had just happened. And I was getting agitated because the flight attendant was saying, I don't think we can fly. I think we're going to have, and I'm causing this scene, and people have got places to go. Passion became something in my life that had to happen. I also saw passion when I see certain things, when you see certain things, logos and brands, things that make you excited. We all have our favorite teams. We all have our favorite companies we like to shop with. Ferrari. Everybody sees Coke. They have a feeling about it. People have these feelings. When I see that star as a Dallas Cowboy, I get excited. People get passionate over being a Democrat or a Republican. They get passionate about what company they work for, which car they drive. When you see logos, you see the power of passion really come out. And then you see other companies' logos. And people become passionate about their logos. And I looked at all those logos, and I couldn't find a single thing there to be passionate about at all. Nothing. But when our logo appears and it pops out there, it starts to get exciting. And you got to now have intensity. Now that you've got passion, you've got to have intensity. What does it mean? What does it mean to have intensity? It means that you're going to do everything you can, that you're focused, you're poised, you're ready to go. You've got to go out and enroll. I'm going to enroll. I'm going to be intense in this business. This is what makes people successful. They speak with passion. They have an intensity in them. People look at them and know they're going somewhere. You've got to be intense about this business. Do you know what we have? I'm telling you, there's no company, this concept, even in its darkest hour, I never doubted for a minute the grandness of this concept, of what we have, of these products. Nobody else has this. None of those companies I just showed has this. They've got great stories, and I'm glad for them, and they're in our profession. I respect them. But you know what? It's about intensity and passion and competing. And thirdly, you got to have urgency. You got to have urgency. You know, urgency is so important in the business. I go to places all around the world. I go into your meetings and I sense the urgency. I see people bring prospects in. I see how they treat them. There is a level of urgency for those that are successful. There's only one thing that has to happen with this company right now, from your perspective. One thing. And that is you go out after this weekend and you enroll like you've never enrolled before. And I don't care if you've already enrolled 100. You go enroll again and again and again, because if you do that, that separates you from being average, and you become great because you find people in the business that you give dreams to. And when it becomes about people and it becomes about others and it's not about I, and it's about the people that you're trying to succeed with, that's when the magic of success comes. When you put yourself away for a minute and it's about everybody else, that's when this business becomes magical. I hope that as you leave this weekend, you can have a greater cause than yourself. That you can become more by doing more and giving more. And if you do that, that is a recipe for victory. I tell my football team all the time, if there's one thing you do today, you get the back of your brother next to you. And you fight for him until that whistle blows. And if you do that, and every guy in this room does that, and you fight for your guy, we will be unstoppable. And that's a fact. And lastly, you've got to work. You see my shirt. Some wish for it. We work for it. I bought a few of these. I've got up there, and that's the theme of what I'm about right now in my life. I used to sit back and wish for it as I'd have myself a Twinkie. I would think about how good I'd look when I was over having a big, nice lunch, watching people swim and thinking, gosh, it'd be nice to be able to go get in that pool. You know how miserable it is to not dare go and swim or go out and do something fun because you can't because you're too big, or you at least feel you're too big? I felt that way for a long time. When my doctor told me to do something this time, I listened. And I worked for it. And I worked hard for it. And I told you that I would be half the man. I'm not quite half the man, but I'm getting there. And you... And you have to do the same. You have to work for it. I so wish you could hear and understand my heart and mind right now when I say this, that without hard work, without urgency and intensity and passion, you have a vision, you know the vision. Without those things, it'll never happen. If you looked in the mirror right now and you examined your last 5 years and you didn't like where you were going, you didn't like the direction, unless you made a change, a significant change, your next 5 years will look the same as you feel today. You know, it's a proven fact in every country in the world that 98% of people, the population, are chasing and running for money. They're running for it. They're broke and running for money. They're in debt. They're running for the paycheck. Any chance they can get a paycheck, they run for. And 2%, it's interesting, and that 2% exists everywhere. Live a different life because it's not about them. It's about doing greater things. They have left legacies. They have started businesses. They have built things in their life. They have started charities. They've been in position to help people. Life's about so much more. But yet, for some reason, we put ourselves in a category and we think that's okay. We think that's where we're going to belong and stay. My dad taught me how to work. My dad taught me at an early age how to work hard. I remember growing up, and you know I've got 4 brothers, there's 5 of us. Every day it was about work, something different. If things weren't done, you didn't want to say you had something that you were doing, or you didn't want to act bored because he'd say, go sweep the garage out. And you'd say, well, the garage is swept out. He says, well, go do it again if you've got time on your hands. And so I'd go out there and do it again. Crazy as that sounds. And I find myself today telling my son to go sweep the cul-de-sac. That's the city's job. He says that to me now he's older. I said, I want the cul-de-sac swept out. The neighbors will appreciate it. It's about working hard. I have a really funny story that I thought about, and this story happened this spring. This is a true story. I was sitting out on my patio, and I had my oldest son, Jens, and his friends were there, and my daughter, Sydney, was there, and all of a sudden, my friends, behind my house, there's a little stream. And all of a sudden, Jens and his friends started hollering, Jeff, get down here, hurry, fast, get down here. And they came running over, and they were kind of laughing. He says, there's a problem down there, there's a problem down there. Now, these guys were 13 and 14 years old. Cade's having a panic attack. Cade's upset. First thought, is he in the river? Is everything okay? You know, knowing they're got a smile on their face, but what could be wrong? As I got closer, I could hear him screaming frantically. And I got to the edge of the bank, and I looked down at my son, 8-year-old boy, and he was sobbing his eyes out. Tears were coming down both cheeks, and he was throwing rocks the size of softballs at a duck in the pond, in the river. And what he didn't understand is that duck in the river's head was going like this, because there was another duck under it. And he thought the duck on top was going to kill the duck on the bottom. And the kids that were older didn't know how to explain that to him. And so he's throwing rocks and hitting these animals because he's thinking he's saving one of their lives. And it was at that moment too, and I remember thinking, this is exactly why they're laughing, because this is why I teach this. The kid was so passionate about this that he was crazy. Urgency was out of the question. It had left urgency and was forward urgency, throwing things and doing things. And this poor duck was just, doing what it does in nature, right? Doing what it does in nature. He was working as hard as he could to get that, and I had to kneel down and I said, this is how ducks hug each other. This is how they kiss a little bit. And I sat there and I thought, this is how we are as people. And I looked at the different age categories. From the 8-year-old to the 14-year-old who giggled but didn't know what to say, to the adult, to life. To life and its passion. You guys, we're going to do something special. We're going to do something great. We're going to do something very extraordinary in a few days. When your planes start arriving in your countries and cities, there's going to be something happen that you will notice in the back office. You will see volume going. You will see things happening. You will see people enrolling. You will see people rank advancing. Because just like that doctor again told me to change and impacted my life, we as a company had to change. We had to change dramatically, and we've changed. And we're prepared to bring the greatest product launch out in the history of our company and arguably in the DSA ever in our profession. There is no product like this that will be coming out. So I want to leave you with a couple of thoughts for this weekend. I have such a content, peaceful feeling in my heart because I know where we're going. You folks that are here, I believe in. The diamonds down here, we've had an extraordinary few days together. I can sense the conviction in your hearts and in your souls. I know that something great's going to happen. I work with the greatest guy in the world, Jeremiah. It is so fun every day to go into work and work with a guy that thinks the same way that you think and believes the same way that you believe and sees the same vision with the same way we each share it. We're lucky to have him. He does an amazing job each and every day. And his father, Craig. I want you to know there's not very many people in the world like Craig. You've got a president that is different than the other presidents. You have a competitor. You have a compassionate guy. You have a person that wants to do things and sees things in a big way. And you have management team and you've got general managers that are ready to go. They know what's coming out. And this weekend, we're not just launching 2 products. We're launching several things. There's tools. There's great things that are going to happen that will change your business. We're different today. You guys have got to know that if you believe in yourself enough like you did last year, like you said I declared last year, if you do that, dreams become realities. And these times that are challenging become times that you look back on and say, I'm grateful that happened in my life. I needed to understand and learn and to go through that. Don't give up on what you believe in. Don't give up on your dream. We have funding partners here, Ash Capital, that we would not be here without. Our company is in good shape. It's in the best shape that it's ever been in today because of you. You're at the right place, and it's our time. And it's our time to go out, and I say, Zango who? Montevi who? Visalis who? Yippee-ki-yay! Who cares? I'm so tired of seeing that swagger moving down the line. I'm in a real company with real people doing real things every day. You guys have what it takes. Fight like you've never fought before. Go out there and enroll people. Go out there and rank advance. Go out there and be champions. Believe in yourself and fight for something. And fight most of all for your people. And if you do, your experience in 18 months when we come back here will never be the same. God bless, and thank you from the bottom of our hearts for being here.